Bang.
I'm not a zombie. I'm not a ghost. It is me, the phenomenal AJ Styles. And there's no Undertaker to try and steal my spotlight. Not this time.
What's going on, YouTube? It's insane place to be. Chilling with me, Mr. A&E. Back to give you guys a Raw review for May 4th, 2020. And before we get into this Raw review, I know there have been concerns of like, why haven't there been any Raw and SmackDown reviews up? Well, unfortunately, me and my wife did get sick, and it was possible to believe that it was, the virus that's going around. I don't want to mention the name about it. And we was on a 2-week quarantine. And the week that I had caught it, it was about 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I missed all those Raws. There's one Raw that it was just so bad I didn't want to do a review on it. But now we're feeling better, and we're just waiting for some negative results, and then I can go back to business as usual. So that's what I figured here. So since we're about this the final Raw before Money in the Bank, I'm going to come back here and do the review for you guys, and so we can get into Money in the Bank and all the great stuff that's coming out this week. So I appreciate you guys supporting the Nerd Coalition while I was away. Swag on Zero has been doing an awesome job by doing the live streams and having gameplay up for you guys. So right now, for my wrestling heads out there, trying to bring back some wrestling. And now, I have to say that Raw has some things going on tonight that I actually kind of enjoy. And we start off Raw with the MVP Lounge. So MVP acknowledged that last week they had a brawl. They couldn't even get started with the 3 members of Raw going into, had a 6-man tag match. And at that time it was Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, and Apollo Crews. Well, last week's United States Championship match, Apollo Crews got injured, kayfabe, and then Andrade took him out of the Money in the Bank predictions. Basically the matchup. So tonight we're going to have a gauntlet match to see who's going to replace Apollo Crews. But before we do that, MVP said, well, let's bring out the Raw side of the women. So he brought out Asuka, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax to the ring for the MVP Lounge. Asuka does first he asks Nia Jax, does she have the skill set to be able to go fight from the ground floor all the way up for the main briefcase? And she said, have you been watching Raw for the past couple of weeks? I've been dominating all the women here. That's the only skill set I need, is basic domination. Then Asuka says something in Japanese, cursing out Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. And then Shayna Baszler comes and she says something, I think it was a Latin. MVP said, I have to brush up on my Latin. And she says, look, her actions is being spoke by her, the way she speaks is through her actions, basically. So isn't that right, Asuka? So they do a stare down, and then Nia Jax is sitting on this little table in the middle. They kick her over. Nia Jax falls back, and the table breaks, and you see MVP trying not to laugh, but it's just kind of looks like a funny visual. You got this big girl that breaks his table, just rolls outside the ring. So there's no action on this side compared to how it turned to a 6-man tag match last week. But that's how we get start off Raw. I thought it was a strong opening segment. So I heard that these Money in the Bank matches are supposed to be happening simultaneously. So I'm curious, when I do the podcast, when I bring the podcast back, I'm curious to see how they're going to do Money in the Bank. And I have a theory of how the simultaneous thing is going to work, especially if you're going to shoot it like a movie. But I thought this was a good opening segment here. Now we got the Money in the Bank qualifier gauntlet match. So once again, if y'all was down with Kofi Mania last year, then we know how it's going to be. The whole gauntlet match, the last person standing will advance and take Apollo Crews' spot for the Money in the Bank ladder match. The only spot that still needs to be filled. So Bobby Lashley starts out with Titus O'Neil. That's Titus O'Neil, like in wrestling clothes? Yes. Titus O'Neil's out there. He gets a very stiff spear. Titus O'Neil's out. Kiro Tozawa's out there, and then he gets speared after about a minute or two. arriving there, and now Bobby Lashley's down 2 people. Shelton Benjamin comes out. Shelton Benjamin does give Bobby Lashley a little bit more work in there, and I was like, it's good to see Shelton Benjamin be able to wrestle and do something with it, because former Intercontinental Champion, U.S. Champion, stuff like that. Shelton Benjamin ain't no slouch, but he's been booked like one. So there's a little brawl, but Lashley gets the upper hand, rams Benjamin to the barricade, and comes back. He goes for a spear the first time. Benjamin jumps it, but then goes for it again, and then connects with Benjamin. And now Bobby Lashley swept through Titus, Akira Tozawa, and Shelton Benjamin. Now here comes Humberto Carrillo. Now, me personally, I figured, okay, well, Humberto Carrillo is probably going to get swept by Lashley also. But Lashley is beating him up in the corner, and when the referee tries to come and break Lashley up, he pushes the referee, which causes a disqualification. I said, so that's how they're going to get Lashley out? Because I thought Lashley was going to be in the match until I remember I said AJ Styles return tonight on Raw. Lashley's not going to the match, so you got it, but he's looking dominant, so you don't want to have Lashley lose to a pinfall, so how else do you get him out there? Of course, you get him disqualified. So Humberto Carrillo moves on, and now he has to face Angel Garza, his cousin, because we haven't seen that match enough times, right? So Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo is having a matchup, and then he goes for the standing moonsault. Carrillo reverses his wing clipper, and gets the pinfall. And then now up after Austin Theory is not after Angel Garza is Austin Theory. So Selena Vega's whole stable's out there. They have a nice little back and forth action, but then Humberto gets to roll up on Austin Theory, and Humberto now has the momentum going on his side. And the last person to come out is none other than AJ Styles. The first time we've seen AJ Styles is being buried by The Undertaker. So him and Humberto have a nice little back and forth. Well, eventually AJ Styles makes Humberto tap to the calf crusher, and AJ Styles is going on to Money in the Bank. So the field is set. We have AJ Styles, Rey Mysterio, Aleister Black, Daniel Bryan, King Corbin, and Otis. Obviously I would love Dolph Ziggler also, but Otis in it. So that looks like a very nice Money in the Bank ladder match. Then AJ gets to the microphone, lets everybody know, I'm not dead. He said, yeah, he challenged Undertaker to the Boneyard match, and Undertaker buried him. But this time, Undertaker's not here to slow him down or to take him away from his opportunities. So I don't know if that's like, kind of deselling what the Undertaker did or not. But AJ Styles is now in the Money in the Bank ladder match. So good way to open up. Obviously, it was just a lot of jobbers. It wasn't really you knew Shelton, Titus definitely, Akira Tozawa, Austin Theory. They wasn't gonna go to the Money in the Bank ladder match. There was a chance Humberto, Lashley, and Garza could have went to the matchup, but as soon as I remember AJ Styles was coming back tonight, I already knew that wasn't the case. Charlie Caruso is in the ring to interview the Monday Night Messiah, Seth Rollins, in a very serious and a very good promo where Seth Rollins is letting everybody know that Drew McIntyre is just not ready. Drew McIntyre is not ready to carry the burden that comes with the WWE Championship. He's not a leader. So basically, I like the promo with what I'm saying. He says, this is not something that I want to do. It's something that I have to do. He is the Messiah. He has to lead the people, and Drew McIntyre is in a spot that he is just not prepared for, and he has to come and take that spot so he can be champion and lead the people right back to their righteous land, basically. So, like I said, the whole Messiah gimmick with Seth Rollins, especially knowing that Seth Rollins is an atheist and everything like that, really makes him believable in this gimmick, believe it or not. And I'm liking it. More and more I see it, the more and more I'm actually liking it. Backstage, MVP is hyping up Vic and Thorne for the upcoming matchup, and he's trying to put some momentum behind their name of WWE for like he's trying to be their manager. And obviously I thought he would probably be a manager to Ricochet and Cedric Alexander, but it looks like he's trying to get Vic and Thorne over. And because it's kind of cool, 'cause I understand what happened with Shane Thorne and how Nick Miller just left and everything, and he was out of partner. He was just like treading water for a while. Backstage, they also asked Murphy why is he such a follower to Seth Rollins, and he says, because Seth Rollins got me out the darkness, he helped me, and one day he'll be better than he's loyal to Rollins, but he wants to be better than Rollins, and so for now they need to stick together. I don't know if that's planting the seeds or something like that of a breakup or something like that already, but like I said, it gives Murphy something to do. All right, Brendan Vink and Shane Thorne taking on Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. Now, obviously, I thought this was a clear win for Alexander and Ricochet, especially for in the past couple weeks. They have been racking up some wins and putting on some really decent matches. And like I said, I like them as a tag team. And this match did not disappoint. They had a decent matchup, but they knocked Cedric out on the outside, and they hit Ricochet with like a big boot kind of thing, and then that's what happened. They pick up the upset win over Ricochet and Cedric. So this is not done with them yet. Obviously, they're gonna have another match like this on Raw. So I thought it was a pretty good one. And now, as we get ready for more tag team title, well, it's not for the titles, but we do get the Street Profits taking on the Viking Raiders. Good matchup by these two, because you know what once again, these empty arena shows sometimes be hard and unbearable to watch, but Raw has found a formula to keep giving some good action, and it's who they're putting on commentary also to help, with these matches, such as Samoa Joe's been on commentary. They put Selena Vega on commentary when her people are out there. So, and Asuka's just been an enjoyment. So, those kind of things I really think help the matches more so than it does to hurt the matches. But so good matchup here. There are a lot of athleticism by Montez Ford, along with Hanson, and as we're winding down, Montez Ford goes and hits the frog splash and rolls out the way, and then Dawkins goes for the cover, but then Eric comes and hits him with the knee right to the face. And then he goes and gives Dawkins the Viking Express. The Viking Experience, and then they pick up the win here on them. And then, but it wasn't for the tag team championships. I thought it was for the tag team championships, but the Viking Raiders get a win over here. So obviously, you have to know that they are now in line for a championship matchup with the Street Profits, and this is probably going to factor into Bianca Belair talking to the Street Profits about how they can never beat the Viking Raiders and how that's probably one of their weaknesses. Charlotte Flair comes out for a promo, letting everybody know how she's working double duty and how hard to be the queen, and how she has to face Io Shirai this Wednesday, and that she is just not necessarily baffled that Io said that's her dream matchup, her versus Charlotte. Then Liv Morgan comes out and says, "Do you remember me, Charlotte?" And she says, "Well, yeah, you coming out here to basically tell me, the same thing, how you gonna beat me in the match." And then Liv Morgan runs down to say everybody's not born with a silver spoon in their mouth, the whole blah 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 thing. That Charlotte's like, "Look, I know the deal. I'm Ric Flair's daughter. I was born with a silver spoon in my mouth. However, it doesn't change the fact that I am the queen." And this obviously is trying to do a callback to when Liv Morgan got beat by Charlotte, and she got the hit. Said this was on SmackDown, and she says that it's time for a new Liv Morgan. So they're finally coming back to that. So then we get Charlotte versus Liv Morgan, and I have to say the match was all right. The match was actually all right. There was no possible way I thought Liv Morgan was going to win this matchup, but I was like, it's all right. It's pretty good. Liv Morgan tries to go for her. When Charlotte's sitting in the middle of the rope, she tries to go for her finishing move, but Charlotte rolls through it and gives her the figure 8. And Charlotte wins the matchup over Liv Morgan. Backstage, we get promos from Aleister Black, letting AJ know that he's not going to throw him off the top of the roof. And then the Viking Raiders just letting Charlie Caruso know that this is not a streak, this is dominance. And Rey Mysterio saying the risk is worth most the reward, because he knows that he doesn't have that many days left in front of him than he does behind him. So once again, we're doing some hyping for the Money in the Bank matchup, as we should. Main event time, we have Drew McIntyre taking on Murphy with Seth Rollins standing at the top of the ramp. Seth Rollins is just looking on very intimidating as Murphy is getting kind of beat up, and you can tell his face squinch every time that Murphy is getting a big move on him. Drew McIntyre does not let up, but Murphy hits him with a knee, tries to do the Claymore kick himself, but gets Claymore kicked and pins him right in the middle of the ring. Rollins is about to come in, and then McIntyre begs for him to come in, and he doesn't. But then as Drew celebrates, he runs in and kicks Drew McIntyre down and gives him the stare down over there with the belt. And he tries to go for the curve style, but then he gets up and gives him that headbutt again. And then tries to go for the Claymore kick, but then Seth Rollins gets out of the ring. And that's how Raw ends. So, getting back into Raw and seeing the go-home show, Raw, especially without no crowd, Raw gets a passing grade from me this week. I enjoy Raw. I enjoy what it had to offer, especially, like I said, it's hard to do these empty arena shows, but if I keep complaining about each empty arena show until we finally get crowds back, then people are going to tired of listening to my review. So, but I'm going to give Raw a passing grade. So post your comments down below. How'd you guys like Raw this past week? Are you guys ready for Money in the Bank? Like I said, I haven't brought back the podcast in 2 weeks, so we're going to bring back the podcast this week and do our predictions for Money in the Bank and what we think is going to happen with everything going on and how they're going to play this match out. So once again, this is NCA Place to Be. Chill with Mr. Andy, and the Nerd Coalition is out.